Hello, everyone, and welcome to this week's edition of Between a Pot and a Hard Place. I'm Stephen Colton.
And I'm Chris Kirkpatrick.
And I'm the Joker. No. I don't know. It's the Joker. I love that.
Right. I knew you were going to do that.
Yeah. I was trying to position him to stand right here. But I wanted him to sit, so he's only that high. But I couldn't. You popped up, and I'm like, oh, hey, I'm not playing with toys.
Right. Not me.
No. All right. So, yeah, we got a lot to talk about, I guess.
We really do. I think that, first of all, podcast-wise, we got a lot of new people that are following our page on Facebook. I think we're at 260, 270 right now.
I think it's close to that.
Yeah.
If not more. Trying to look at it really quick, but I don't see it. I'm so used to looking at it on my phone.
Right.
When I look at it on a computer, it's like everything else is so weird. There's so much more information on here on a computer, but I think it is close to that. It's not showing exactly on here, but I think it was close to. Over the last month, we've had 420 post engagements. It's up 22%. The page likes have risen 1,700%, which sounds like a huge number, but it's 54 new likes. But still,
yeah, that's still big.
Yeah, it's a lot more. I know it sounds small to a lot of people, but for us, it's it kind of lingered for a while, and then it's shooting up because all these things are coming out, and people are talking about them and looking at posts and looking at pages, and it just happens to grow. I mean, it has to, especially
it really does.
Summertime is big because a lot of new shows are coming out. A lot of shows are going off. People are looking for more content to talk about.
I've got to say that we've talked about this already before, but this is a really great time to be a superhero lover.
It is. It really is. And there's so much. My aunt actually had just messaged me. I knew this was coming, but I'll have to find it later to watch it. She messaged me on Facebook showing me screenshots that Kevin Smith is on Family Feud right now.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Him and his wife and some of their friends from some of his movies and stuff are on a team on Family Feud. And I wanted to watch it, but I was like, I don't even know if I can pick that up because I don't have cable and stuff. But I'll find it later on and watch it for sure.
That's cool. That's cool. Well, I feel like the big ones that we need to talk about and that you and I have both seen, the new episodes of Superman and Lois.
Yeah.
And then Stargirl.
Yeah, those are so good.
Yeah.
I know there was some talk, that some people didn't quite like Stargirl or Superman and Lois, really, that it was kind of slow and didn't really live up to the hype. I loved it. I mean, I look at it as steps. As steps. I don't look at it as each one has to amaze me. I'm like, okay, this is the boring setup. Not boring, but the slower pace setup for the big epic finale. You have to go to this place to get to this one.
I agree. Let's talk about Stargirl first. I feel like that one I feel I've used the term slow burn. It was quite the slow burn considering where we left things at the finale. Yeah. Where they're literally dealing with an issue where Brainwave could have, enslaved / killed, hundreds of thousands of people, and here they are. It almost seems like they're in this lull, where things just aren't quite as exciting. They seem kind of bored.
They do. It's like, oh, what are you going to do? Not much going on. And then Courtney is the one that's like, come on, guys, we got to go do this. We got to go be superheroes. Everybody's like, stop it, dude. It's the summer. Chill out.
Right.
And they're like, we're going to go play in the water parks and have fun or whatever. And then she's like, but no, we have to do this. And even Pat's like, calm down. There's not a lot going on. Or whatever.
Okay, your impression is getting better.
A little bit better. It sounded more like his brother Owen Wilson, but they do sound alike. They sound alike.
I think it's passable. It's absolutely passable. One of my current boss currently has an expression. He says, "If you stay ready, you don't have to get ready." And I feel like in regards to, Courtney, she wants the team to be ready.
Right.
Just because you can't see the enemy and what they're doing now doesn't mean they're not coming.
Exactly.
I really feel like that's the issue that's going on. They don't realize just how dangerous a situation they're in right now.
She was sort of right, but then sort of wrong. She thought this danger was coming, and all of a sudden she gets attacked, or so she thinks. And it ends up being Green Lantern's daughter, which I love. I talked to Mark about that. I was like, man, I'm so excited about Green Lantern coming up on HBO, which it'll still be a while. But, I mean, it's just unfortunate that Warner Brothers will not allow certain showrunners to include Green Lantern, or not just Green Lantern, but like certain things in general. Like, look how long it took Superman. Yeah. Look how long it took Batman. You know, stuff like that. And it's like a Diggle Green Lantern won't happen just because the people at Warner Brothers are like, no, we got to do it over here only or over here only. And I'm not attacking them or being negative about it. I'm just saying it would be nice if we could get those characters on multiple platforms and multiple versions of these characters.
Yeah, to me, it would just make sense.
Yeah.
You know, Diggle already has a fan base. If you take him and bring him in, all that would do was bring the fans from one area to another. And to me, that sounds like a win-win.
Exactly. Just like the books. Like in the books, there's how many versions of each character over time? Like tons and tons.
Right.
So it would make perfect sense. And I get it. You don't want to add confusion and talk Green Lantern. Oh, is that the cartoon? Or like what cartoon? Oh, is that the comic book? No, it's the TV show. Which one? Like, I get that. But especially if you run like 10 versions of the same character on 10 different shows at once, then yeah, I can understand. But you're talking about like, you know, the HBO series won't come probably until fall into the next year, maybe. I'm just guessing. I have no idea.
So I guess we have to wait until that right now what we're getting on Stargirl is going to have to kind of satisfy us.
And it was nice. I loved it.
It was a really great surprise, right? That we see that she's holding that lantern, is glowing, and she has the ring. And number one, the team has needed another heavy hitter.
Oh, yeah.
Green Lantern certainly is it. And I think the other part of it that I thought was cool was that we're getting not Green Lantern, but we're getting Green Lantern's daughter, which I think was pretty amazing. And the fight that they have in the house between the two of them, I thought that was for an episode that needed a little bit of a fight scene in it. Yeah. I thought that sort of satisfied me a little bit.
Yeah, for sure. And it, you know, I know some people were complaining online that I read about, oh no, is just going to be a bunch of teenage JSA? I'm like, that's been the premise of the show since day one.
Right.
I mean, and we're in the second season, so it's like it's been the case all along. Did you just now notice? Or, I mean, I like that though. It's a different way to tell the story, and that's why some of these shows work so well. Smallville worked well because it was Superman in high school, never been done before. Superman and Lois worked so well. Superman and Lois as parents, never been done before. Like they in the comics they've had kids, but I mean, not in this way, you know. And it's like every show except for Flash, it's like talk about your problems. Always been done before.
Yeah.
But aside from that, though, they really have been like telling these stories in different ways. So I really love and in the Green Lantern ring when she holds it up and holds the ring up to the lantern. I'm just like, ooh. It was like my favorite moment probably in the whole episode.
Yeah, so I'm really looking forward to seeing getting more of that story out next week. There were some other interesting parts. I think first of all, there was that scene with I guess Solomon Grundy has run off into the woods, and the young guy who is Our Man, he seems to have, I don't know, got some sympathy for him a little bit.
A little bit.
We see him walking through the forest, and as we find out, he's got a couple of buckets of chicken, and so for whatever reason, he's feeding Solomon Grundy.
I mean, he could be feeding him kale. It could be worse. I mean, he's nice enough to give him chicken. Right.
Well, I guess he's nice enough to feed him at all.
Yeah,
I think that was the question for me was why is he feeding Solomon Grundy? And I think part of it is that he's realized that just like a lot of people, Grundy was a victim as well. He had been manipulated like everyone else. And I think there was that understanding of him that he had, beat the crap out of him but he hadn't. Grundy really hadn't deserved it.
No, and I think he could have killed Grundy, but he decided, if I remember it right, he was like about to kill him, and he was like, no, or whatever. He hesitated because he was like, he doesn't deserve this. He doesn't deserve to be killed, at least. But I'm loving Stargirl, and then the little kid. I always forget his name. The little brother. Why do I forget his name?
So,
Courtney's little brother.
Courtney's little brother.
Yeah. He's always wanting, like in this episode, he's like, "Can I be in the JSA? Can I do this? Can you teach me to fly the robot? Like, come on, let me do this."
Right.
He's
so
like,
that's
so eager.
You're thinking about Mike.
Yeah, Mike. Why did I forget such an easy name?
I don't know.
Wow.
So Mike, it's played by Trey Romano, and I think it's interesting, kind of what's going on with him, right? That he clearly wants to be a superhero, and his dad doesn't want him anywhere near that life.
And I don't blame him, really. I mean, because you saw what happened in the end of the first season. Like, everybody almost died. And then he finds out about it. He's like, oh. But I think, there's more to Mike than we think, I think. I think there's more coming, because you see at the end of the episode how his picture was on that desk.
So that was a pretty interesting part of the story, right? I mean, that there you got I'm trying to think of the name of the character. You got Cindy, right? Yeah. Shiv, who essentially she realizes that if she's going to be able to fight Stargirl, she's going to need to have a team of her own.
Right.
And so, she's already identified the people that she's going to approach. But Mike's appearance on the table with his picture as a potential member of her group, in my opinion, that was the shocker, right? Yeah.
When I first saw that, I thought this is like a list of targets. At first, because she was like, "Rip, ha ha ha." Now the next one, but then I realized because he died, that one guy died, and then it's like, oh, he's not here anymore. So now these are the only people that's left that I can actually count on. I took it a completely different way the first time I saw it. Yeah. Well, okay, this is different.
But do you think that Mike's actually going to turn to the dark side?
I don't think he'll directly go like, you know what, screw you, family, I'm going to go be evil. I don't think it's going to happen like that. I think he might be manipulated into making a mistake or hurting someone, maybe his own. Because I saw his mom is in like the lady at the end of the episode where Starman, what's his name? The character's name, like he's in the diner at the end. He's like, "I'm looking for your ex-husband."
Right.
I mean, it shows that's Mike's mom. It was Pat's ex-wife. So I think maybe Mike ends up hurting her or something like that, or being manipulated and doing something he's not supposed to do, or that he doesn't realize he's doing, or whatever. And he's like, "Oh my gosh, I'm so sorry. How can I ever forgive myself?" I think it might be more like that.
I feel like Mike has that kind of that innate sense of wanting to be special, and he's always been sort of, I don't know, ignored. We saw that during season 1, where he had wanted to have powers, he wanted to be a part of the team, and he got turned away. And I do feel like that jealousy, that want to be different and special, I really do feel like they could use that as a tool to kind of end up swaying his opinion a little bit.
Exactly. I mean, we see that it's kind of predictable in a sense, because we've seen that so many times, prey on the weak. Just like I always think of like Spider-Man, the original Tobey Maguire, Sam Raimi movie.
Right.
He's like, "First, we attack his heart." And it's, and it's smart though. I mean, like manipulation is the key to getting what you want. You can trick somebody into it. And then by that point they realize that they're like, "Oh, I'm screwed. I can't do anything about it." Damage is done. So I'm excited to see what happens either way, whether or not he becomes evil or helps or is even tempted. It might be kind of like, as weird as it is to compare the Karate Kid 2. I think it's 2, or is it? No, it's 3. It was Karate Kid 3 where Daniel joins Cobra Kai. It might be more like that, where he's like tricking him, or whoever's tricking him, like, "This is good. Your dad and these people won't let you be super. We're here to do the same thing. We're going to help you." He's like, "Oh, okay."
Right. Yeah, I think that's probably it. I think that deep down, Mike is a good kid.
Mm-hmm.
Right? He's always been a bit on the edge. You know, he speaks his mind, and he sometimes gets himself in trouble. But I think ultimately, when the cards fall, he's a good kid, right? He's his dad's son.
Yeah.
But that doesn't mean that he won't make some mistakes along the way. I think we're going to see him, you know, go down the rabbit hole and see where it goes. So that's what I'm excited about, that part of it. We have not talked about the giant purple elephant in the room, and that is Eclipso.
Yeah.
So Eclipso is the big bad of the season, and as dangerous and powerful as Eclipso is, I think they've done a really smart job here in the show by giving us little doses of Eclipso,
Mm-hmm.
right? I mean, Eclipso, I was looking at who he is as a character. He's very, very similar to what Oliver Queen became, you know, as you know, gosh, I don't know why I can't remember the character that Oliver became.
Oh, I thought you were. I was like Green Arrow. No,
No.
I know what you're talking about. It's funny. I'm wearing like an Oliver Queen.
Right.
Shirt.
Yeah, you are definitely representing, and I'm wearing my Batman T-shirt here, so we are both representing.
Playing with the joke. I mean,
I know. I don't know why I can't remember the name. Anyway, the idea that this is a godlike character, right? We know that Cindy, in possession of that purple gem, is really going to cause some problems.
The Spectre, I think, is what you're talking about.
Absolutely. It seemed very Spectre-like, right? It's spiritual, it's magical, and those are two things that have always given heroes a problem.
Yeah.
Right? How do you fight magic?
Yeah, how do you? I mean, unless you're magic yourself, which I guess Courtney has a magic stick, but other than that,
none of them. Well, and I think you could say that Green Lantern has a magic ring.
Yeah.
You know, it's definitely enchanted in some way, and so definitely that is an area of weakness the team is going to have to, you know, deal with. Whether they're going to turn to someone like a John Constantine or what, that remains to be seen. But it does seem that right now, especially in the first episode, that each of the characters is being, I don't know, played with a little bit.
Yeah, a little bit. I don't know, like where. I'd love to see how Green Lantern's daughter just pops up, because she just kind of comes out of nowhere and goes into the house and it's like, haha. And you think they're fighting, and then, they are fighting, and then they're like, wait a minute. And then everybody comes downstairs. What's going on? Who's this? What are you doing? That sounded more like Jerry Seinfeld. But they're like fighting, and everybody's like, oh, sorry, we were just playing, and like it kind of goes away. And so I'm interested to let her there.
Yeah. I think it's going to be a really interesting dynamic.
Mm-hmm. And then, we have Superman and Lois too, which one more episode. One more.
There seems to be a lot that's on the table right now. But I feel like that's kind of the way the writers enjoy it. They like having a lot of different irons in the fire. You know, if you kind of count them off about things they're dealing with right now, like they were dealing with the Cushings potentially moving. You have, you know, Jordan and Sarah and their relationship and the possibility of them having to break up because of the move. You got the feelings of the town about being betrayed by Edge. You have Lois being mad about losing her job at the newspaper, right? I think all of those things, and then, you know, that's not even talking about the issue of Edge being, you know, going full Super Saiyan as the Eradicator.
We have somebody watching now at Harv, which from Facebook. Of course, this is from Facebook because we're doing Facebook Live. But
right.
I'm like, he's from Facebook, not Twitter. Like, thank you for watching, by the way.
Yeah.
Thank you for following us and everything. But yeah, there is a lot going on, and Edge did go Super Saiyan, and then what about Jordan? I mean, wow, I'm going to jump straight to it, but I mean, like that ending shot of his eyes and like, bro, look at me, blah, 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 blah. I'm like, holy crap! Like this, I mean, I knew something was going on with that as soon as he took him. I thought he was going to get killed because we were talking on the Great Geeks Debate show a couple of weeks ago. We're like, maybe one of the kids dies before the season's over, and I was watching it this past Tuesday, and I was like, this is when it happens. He's gonna die right here, somehow, but he didn't yet. If he does, I don't know.
Yeah, I was shocked that that Edge took Jordan. I had thought that he would use him, perhaps as a bargaining chip, right? Use it like he did before and say, Superman, if you don't quit, if you don't give up, I'm going to kill your son. That's where I thought they were going to do. The idea that instead Edge somehow becomes the Eradicator, where he can, now give people powers and insert Kryptonian personalities into them. That was huge. And you recognized who Jordan got transformed into, right?
I want to say it was Zod, but I don't remember specifically if I noticed who
the voice. The voice sounded just like Edge's father.
Okay, yeah, that makes sense. Because I think he did. Yeah, I think he did say son or something like that. Like right. in that whole thing.
But it was a terrifying moment, right?
Yeah.
And I think we had just realized just how serious things got.
I'm hoping they can save Jordan. I do too. And when Edge swooped in and took Jordan, at first I thought he was going to take John, because I'm like, this is the moment John gets powers, and then when he isn't possessed anymore, he'll still have the powers. That's what
right.
Either that or they're going to kill Jordan. Like one of the two thoughts I had, but I didn't expect Jordan to become this most evil. He's pretty much like Super Devil or something.
Yeah.
He's like, oh, I'm Super Satan. Dun, 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 dun. I mean, it's really exciting, and I can't wait to see if they're going to have him flying around in like full superpower mode, which is going to be really cool to see.
The other issue is going to be, how do you fight? How is Superman going to fight his own son? Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, I'm sure that Clark has no problems with punching the lights out of somebody who's going to threaten the world, but when it's his son, I think that might be, kryptonite's pretty deadly, but the love of a child is far more powerful. And I think that's certainly something we're going to see here, that struggle. I don't think John Henry Irons is going to have a similar issue. But that is the question. How do we do it? I think that the one benefit is we know that Clark himself was able to fight off the Zod personality.
Mm-hmm.
And I have hope that if Clark can fight back, so can Jordan.
I mean, it might be a little harder because Clark is, not only more experienced, but he's full powered, and Jordan he's kind of like a half powered kind of thing. But even then, it's like, what was I gonna say? I forgot completely. Oh yeah. It's gonna be hard to fight your son, like you said. So all he's got to do is just capture him and then bend him over, just like spank him, and then until the power goes away.
I like
how
that.
Dare you?
I like
stop
that
it right now. And then he just snaps out of it because it works for the Flash. Just talk about your problems and everybody says okay.
Just hug him. Well, you say that, but I really believe who's going to save the day in this whole story, it's going to be Jonathan.
I think so.
I will put money on the table right now that when this thing all wraps up, Jonathan is going to be the one to go and save his brother. He's going to pull him out and remind him who he is when nobody else can reach him. I really believe that's what's going to happen.
I do too. I don't know how exactly, if it's going to be like talking it out or if it's going to be just a hug or a high five, or I also feel like there's going to be part of it where Sarah's involved in the whole, I love you, don't take over the world. Okay, sorry. Or a combination of the two.
I think that what we've definitely seen is the power of connection.
Yeah.
That really has been the secret to defeating the Eradicator, has been reminding people about who they are and where they come from and what they really believe in their core. That really has been it. For Clark, it was his parents, it was his friends, it was his family. And I think that for Jordan, it's going to be the same thing. It's going to be about the connections that he has that will ground him. But I think we're going to be in for a pretty nasty fight. So,
For sure.
Yeah.
I
So
can't wait.
what else about the episode did you like?
Let's see. What else did we have? Gosh, that was the most memorable part, like the ending, which
It really was.
I mean, it was so good. I like the parts where they're teasing like Lana and her family are gonna move away, and then they're no, don't move, you can't move, and then Clark's like, don't leave me, you're my best friend, and he's all crying and everything. But I don't know. I think that back and forth, because it's like they're trying to figure out, is this place for us anymore? Is Smallville the same as it was? Is it a different town entirely now? And it's because, all these people are like egging their house and all this stuff. And I really do still think that Kyle is going to sacrifice himself for someone.
Right.
And then the whole town is going to change, and Lana's going to be there by herself as a single mother.
Right. So I don't know if anybody else that's watching has that same kind of visceral hatred of Kyle. I think we've been sort of on the fence about him. Sometimes he has some redeeming qualities, right? He is a firefighter, and he, in fact, he's saved the Kents more than once since this whole show began.
Yeah.
And at the same time, he can really be an ass.
He really can be. He's just like, let's move, let's walk away from our because Sarah kind of like yelled at her parents about like, you're just gonna give up, you're such hypocrites, and like all that whole speech she gave them. And I think she was kind of right. I know she's a teenager and she doesn't always have the answers, but I think she was right on that one. They're always saying don't give up, and all this and that. But then when the second it gets hard, they're like, let's just move. Screw it, let's just move. Let's move. And
I think the parents have, it's not a bad idea. There's plenty of places that you can go. There's no reason why you should, tie yourself to a community that's dying.
True.
But I think for the Cushings, they've always been about pushing back, about fighting, and they've really cared about the community. To me, I think that it would be sad if they were to leave. Plus the fact that, as we've said, Lana's connection both to the Kents as well as to Smallville is so strong. I can't imagine them leaving anytime soon.
I don't think so. And for some reason, I just had this thought in my head that at the end of season one, that Lana's going to find out Clark is Superman.
Right.
And that's going to be what keeps her in Smallville.
It really is a matter of time. And frankly, I'm shocked that after 20 years of Clark being Superman, that she has still not picked up on it.
Yeah. I mean, it's like, Clark moved away and Superman appeared in Metropolis the same time. And then when he moved back, Superman started showing up in Smallville.
Right.
And he looks the same. He doesn't even slick his hair back like Dean Cain did. He just like takes his glasses off. They're like, "Ooh, Superman!" He puts them back on. Who's that?
I think we've had this conversation before, but there is this suspension of disbelief. I mean, he does have the worst disguise ever.
Yeah.
And yet, you sometimes playing around with people's perceptions and expectations. People see what they want to see, and to an extreme degree, the idea that a superhero wears glasses, right? It's that whole idea about hiding in plain sight. I mean, that's how it goes. I think Lana's really going to kick herself when she realizes that Clark Kent and Superman are indeed the same person.
And I feel like she's probably going to get a little mad at first, like she's betrayed.
Yeah.
Like, how dare you? How dare you? They always do. Well, you should have told me. You should have told me. There's that whole like resentment for that. But I think she'll get over it within 22 minutes, and then half
right.
she'll learn to like accept it or something like that. Okay, so Harv asks a question. I'm going to go ahead and put that up here. He's like, I have a question for you guys. What's your opinion on the idea of a Smallville animated series? And I love the idea. I actually talked to or asked, I think it was Claire from WB. You know, we've been in talks about getting people on the show. I think it was her I talked to about the idea of, are you connected with anybody that's involved with this project? She said she'd never heard of it before. So I guess, I don't know. There's been rumors that there is one. Tom Welling was on video, on like one of the cameo videos for a fan, saying that him and Michael Rosenbaum had been working on an animated series for Smallville. Now, I don't know if that's an official thing or if they're just talking about it amongst themselves and maybe have pitched it, but it's not an official project yet. But if that does happen, that would be amazing. And the way
it would be awesome.
Yeah, and the way they're talking about it is they're getting as many of the original cast members as possible to voice the characters. Sort of like the What If show, where they're getting past actors to do voices on some of it. And,
right.
And the Smallville animated series would be kind of like that.
I think it would be really, really smart. You get a chance for, it has been off the air for so long. You get a lot of people that just for the sake of nostalgia would want to go and tune in and watch that show.
Yeah.
And I think it'd be brilliant.
I mean, it's been at least 10 years since it's been off the air. 2011, I believe, was the final season. And I think they had a whole run of comics based in the same universe. And then they loosely tied that in with Crisis on CW last year. And well, it's almost 2 years ago, I guess, because at this point, because the fall season will be 2 years since Crisis started.
Right.
2 years. That's insane.
Right.
But yeah, I mean, that was one of my favorite Crisis moments. To go back to that is Clark Kent like being there.
And I think that I would have loved to have gotten a little bit more Tom Welling.
I would have liked that too. I would have liked. Now, I'm not one of those people that are sitting there mad that he was not in a suit and he's not flying around. I was really thinking, and I know they teased it, but I was really hoping he'd be the Paragon, because they go straight to his house, and it's like, oh, it's him. It's going to be him. Oh,
right.
No, it's not. He left, and it's going to be.
We even got the theme song.
Yeah. I mean, when they did that in Elseworlds the year before, and it was amazing. And I was really bummed out when Superman and Lois started this year, and they did not have that same house and that same farm. I was super bummed. I'm just like, no, how do you know? Because in Supergirl, when they were still in Earth 38, it was the same farm.
Right.
The same farm where Oliver was Barry and Barry was Oliver, and that whole thing where Barry shot Oliver with the arrows and stuff. That whole thing happened in the same Smallville house. And they started filming the new show, and it's like, oh man, you didn't even use it. That's terrible. But I mean, they had their reasons. I'm not going to dwell on that. But
I think I have to. If there's any discrepancies in the show that you don't like, you just have to blame Oliver and Crisis. That's all you have to do. It's sort of like blaming Barry and Flashpoint. It's exactly the same issue. You don't like the farmhouse? Well, it's all Oliver's fault.
Yeah. I mean, sure. I mean, if you want to think real world, it's probably the owners are like, look, we've been letting you use our house for like 10 years.
Right.
Well, 20 years really, because Smallville started in 2001. And so that's crazy to think it's Smallville. It's coming up on the 20th anniversary, if it hasn't already passed.
It's crazy. It's crazy.
Yeah.
A little bit of a side note, but for me, I know that you've watched Smallville. For me, I didn't watch it while it was coming out. For some reason, I totally missed the boat. But there was a 4-month period where I was sleeping on my brother's couch while I was working a new job in Paris. And my brother had this big giant screen set up in his living room. And since I had nothing better to do, he just simply kind of sat me down and we watched all of the seasons of Smallville. And for me, I can't think of Smallville and not think of that time with my brother. Anyway, that was kind of a special moment. It's just I think that other people might have a similar kind of connection to the show.
I mean, my personal experience is exactly the same. It wasn't the same situation of but my brother did introduce it to me, or did introduce me to it, I guess. I remember they were talking, like my mom and brother were talking about it. And I'm like, my mom watches Smallville, like, but because it was more, especially in like earlier days, it was more like I always explained it to people as like Dawson's Creek with Superman, and it's kind of what it was,
right?
And so she liked the whole like drama aspect of it. She watched like the first season, and once they started doing more like kryptonite stuff and this and that, she's like, I don't like that, and she stopped watching it. But then my brother kept watching it, and I didn't watch it right away. I was like, I don't want to watch that. I don't like Dawson's Creek. I don't like those CW, or back then it was the WB. I don't like all that kind of stuff. He's like, you got to watch it. So somewhere around maybe season 2 or so, maybe later in the season 2, I started watching it. And he would have it. He used to have a VCR. He would tape the episodes. This is 2001. I think DVD existed by that point. Yeah,
right.
It did. But he still had tapes and was like taping it, and he would watch them back. He had like labeled tapes of like Smallville season 1, Smallville season 2, and then later on the DVD sets came out. So he introduced me to the show, and I loved it. And I went back and I watched his tapes from season 1, and I felt like I was in 1992, but like it was 2002. And I watched all his tapes, and he had the box set. Like all 10 seasons, and when he passed away, like his wife gave me the box set. It was missing season 7, which is weird because season 7 was his favorite season, or the one we talked about the most, which was where Supergirl came in, and the end of season 7 found Lex Luthor finding out Clark Kent is powered and all this stuff, and then he disappears when the Fortress of Solitude goes away. It was a pretty big season, and that was the one that was missing from the set. Don't know where it went. She said she didn't know where it went. It was so weird. I'm like, did my brother just like take it with him? Like,
pretty sure you can't take it with you.
No, but I mean, it was weird. So I found a season 7 copy on eBay and bought it, and completed the collection again. But
okay, so you did get one.
Yeah, I did repurchase the season 7. So I've got seasons 1 through 10 on DVD, and I haven't pulled them out in a while because when I had what was it? Back when DC did that DC Universe app before HBO Max started getting like everything, I watched Smallville on that because it was one of the shows on there. I tried that out for a while, and I had all these DVDs, but I was like binge watch. Maybe that was before the DVDs. Either way, I binge watched Smallville on that. I kind of want to go back and watch it again because I haven't sat and watched it for like a year or so.
I do too.
It's a really good show. I mean, seasons like 5, 6, 7, like. Between 4 and 6 were kind of useless because at one point it does become this Lana Lang show where the cringiest episode that I don't like. Well, there were 2. There was one where there was like this like kind of noir type like detective kind of like it's black and white, and it's like Jimmy Olsen is in a bow tie. He's like, come on now, we got to find the criminal, eh? And like it was so weird. It was almost like a musical without the music.
Right.
And it was like, but then aside from that was when Lana Lang joins this fraternity and she's possessed by a vampire witch named Buffy. And that was like, okay, this show needs to really change directions because this is ridiculous.
But don't we find that, at some point in every series, there's that place where they kind of lose their way? Not every single one is perfect.
No, and Harv brings up a really good point. He said, Smallville, which episode's your favorite? The Justice Society of America episodes and the movie combined was awesome. And what he's talking about is they had a 2-part one, where it's 2 hours altogether. It was a 1-part and then a 2-part. And it was the JSA. They had Hawkman, Hawkgirl. Well, no, Hawkgirl wasn't there. I'm thinking of Legends. But they had Hawkman, and they had, oh gosh, who else was in there? Starman was there. And then there was a Stargirl. And all these people, and they had Dr. Fate. They had, there were so many. They even mentioned Jay Garrick, and they showed the big painting with Jay Garrick on it, and Starman, and all these people. That was such a good 2-episode story. It was so good.
I feel like if it hadn't been for Smallville, I think that a lot of the shows that we're enjoying right now may not have ever come to fruition.
Yeah, I mean, Smallville really was like the test dummy or the gerbil or whatever you want to call it. Gerbil? What am I trying to say?
Guinea pig, yeah.
Yeah, like it was the gerbil. But yeah, it was the guinea pig. And I think,
the gerbil.
Yeah, gerbil. The effects don't hold up as much, but if you watch it back now, the effects are very dated. But I mean, especially the super speed, because he just like has this ripple effect behind him, and it's like not even a blur as much. But then as the show got more mature and towards the end of the series, they had a little bit better, and then Arrow came along right after. Arrow came out immediately after Smallville ended. This is the very next season, and then there wasn't much superpower effects in Arrow, but then the Flash joins season 3, I think it was, of Arrow, or was it season 2? Somewhere between 2 and 3 on Arrow, Flash comes up.
Yeah.
And so there's been some kind of consistent superhero presence on that channel for 20 years. And it's crazy to think that we've had all this stuff in 20 years.
I'm loving it. I'm absolutely loving it. A couple of shows I know that you haven't seen, but I want to still plug here on the show. First one that we've been really excited about coming back has been Titans season 3.
And I think I can make some predictions.
Okay, let's hear some predictions.
Well, should I do spoilers? I mean, I guess we should do spoilers because I already know.
We've been doing spoilers for the other shows. You're asking me, do you want me to tell you what happens?
No, I think I can. I think in my mind I can know. I think I'm psychic. I think I'm picking up on these psychic abilities.
Okay, let's hear your psychic predictions.
This guy is responsible for a lot of it.
Right.
So he goes and he kills. I watched it. Sorry.
Oh, you did. Okay.
Yeah, I was gonna do this whole thing where I'm like, I could predict the future, and like, and then I was gonna tell you like all these things that happened, and then, but I'm like, I don't think I can keep up this little act the whole time, so I'm just gonna come out with it. I was able to watch all three seasons. Wow, all 3 episodes.
Okay.
Of Titans today, and I also watched What If.
Okay. Wow, so, you are on it.
Well, it was only like 3 hours worth of content, so it wasn't that much to watch.
I thought that I was going to be, winging it on my own, talking about those.
Well,
so
Titans, when I posted that, and I said I hadn't watched it yet, I hadn't at that point. And after that is when I got on, and I was like, let me get these up here and let me watch them. So yeah, that's I'm out of water. I need to buy some more water. Right. I'm like reaching for my water, like I don't have one.
Here you go.
Yeah, that would be amazing if I pulled back and wasn't about the water.
That'd be perfect. Absolutely. So we're talking about the first episode of Titans, and yeah, we see Jason Todd, the new Robin, or I guess the old Robin, depending on how you want to put it, he's doing something that's very within his character, right? That he finds out the location of the Joker, and Batman says, wait. And he decides, just like what he did with Slade Wilson, he rushes in there and takes on the Joker himself. And before he goes, he takes some type of medication, some type of drug. I don't know what that was supposed to do, but it certainly didn't help him.
I missed that part.
Oh, you missed that part.
That part, the taking the pill thing.
It was sort of like something you would take for asthma. That's what it looked like. And so, that he did it. I don't know whether it was supposed to. It certainly was a stimulant, the way that it seemed to affect the dilation of his eyes. Mm-hmm. But it didn't seem to make him any faster or stronger, because the Joker rather easily kills him.
With a crowbar, I believe it was.
Yeah.
And he bashed his skull in.
Yeah.
And he's just dead. It's like, holy crap. And a lot of people were complaining. I knew that Jason Todd was going to die. I knew that Red Hood was going to be introduced, because we've seen promo images for months about Red Hood.
Right.
So if you know the Batman story at all, the Killing Joke story where, Jason Todd is dead, but he's not dead, and he blames Batman and all this stuff. You see Red Hood, that's going to be at least a version of that story. But I was surprised how quick it went. People were complaining that, that's not as good as Killing Joke. You should have done it the right way. And it's like, you got to think of it being episodic television. You can't look at it as like a film, because you can't focus 90 minutes on one part of the story. You have to kind of, if you're going to go there, you have to kind of condense it to make a lot of this other stuff fit. But I think that the pace they did, and I know people were complaining about how quickly the Titans found out who Red Hood was. But I think it was great. The second episode, I think it was, everybody found out. And or maybe about the beginning of the third, somewhere in
the third episode is where they find out.
Okay, so yeah, see that wasn't that far into the series, but still, that's 2 hours in to the story, and it's like I don't mind it. I don't mind the way they do it. I think the pace is good. I like the way the tone is of the show. I love everything about it. And Batman, Bruce is like kind of a dick still.
No, he's not kind of a dick. He is a dick.
I mean, yeah, well, yeah. I mean, he's almost like a Lex Luthor, but I love how, he's just like, hey, Dick, I killed a Joker. Oh, that means I'm dead now. Goodbye. That was dumb. I don't know why I did that. But yeah, he kills Joker, and I'm just like, oh, okay.
Right. Well, that had been the issue. Both Dick Grayson, Nightwing, and Barbara Gordon had been talking about how Bruce Wayne didn't seem to grieve over the loss of Jason, and that seemed to be a pretty consistent problem with Bruce Wayne. Is he just doesn't feel. There's a real coldness about him,
mm-hmm.
and Barbara certainly confronts him, and I think that Dick's confrontation with him, I think it forced him to realize how hurt he was. Him coming in and having that blood spatter on his face and throwing the crowbar on the ground, and he says to Dick Grayson, he says, I've killed Joker. I've bashed in his skull. Be a better Batman.
Yeah. Because we know Dick Grayson becomes Batman for a while in the comics. It doesn't last for a long, long time, but he does do it for a period there. But that whole scene, I was like, is this really Bruce, or is this like the time they all thought they saw him? Because when Dick turns around or goes out of the room to find him, he's gone. He's just vanished. So I'm like, was he ever really there, or is Dick just imagining this?
I don't know. We've already seen in the last season, we had seen Dick hallucinate Bruce Wayne's presence,
and he killed him in his little hallucination at one point.
Yeah, there had been a number of times where he had imagined that he is seeing Bruce Wayne. So I'm not sure this is the same Bruce Wayne who had claimed that he had buried Jason Todd's body.
Yeah.
And he goes out there. Yeah. And so there's a lot of things that don't quite add up to me.
It almost seems like Bruce helped Jason Todd become Red Hood, because the meditation he was taking, and then Dick's like, oh, he was studying chemistry or whatever it was. Like, he was figuring out, like, how do I make myself into something better? I must become something else. I am Red Hood.
Right.
You have failed this city, Dick. But I don't know. I think, but then Bruce, like, he's like, I buried him this morning or whatever. And then you go in there and the coffin is empty. He's like, oh my, he's not here. I knew it. Oh my gosh. And they're all embarrassed and everything. And then how gullible is Hank? I mean, he just gets that call from Jason, like, oh. Just before that, he's like, I'm going to kill him. Then he gets the call. He's like, oh, hey, buddy, how are you? Like, oh, come, hold on. And he, like, goes through all these little hoops and does all this stuff, and he even gets naked. And I thought Jason was like, kind of like a pervert. He's like, take off your clothes. I'm watching you. And he swims through, the dirty water and all that. And we know what happens in the end of that. I knew that going in. I accidentally spoiled that for myself reading. I wasn't trying to read spoilers. I was just kind of scrolling and saw it pop up. I'm just like, no, don't show me this. But then it still shocked me on how it happened, because the way, even though I knew what was going to happen, the way they were telling the story made me think, well, maybe he gets out of it. Maybe it doesn't happen, but it still happens.
Well, not only does Red Hood kill Hank, but he manipulates Dove into doing it.
She literally pulls the trigger.
She does, and I think that this whole mind fuck, frankly, that Red Hood is doing, I think that is really clear. That he is. I'm gonna. I didn't think that Jason Todd was capable of such cleverness and cruelty. Even the metaphor with chess, and I'm a huge chess player. I do feel like, here is Red Hood playing chess. He is making moves and counter moves And the Titans, they're still playing checkers,
Yep.
right? They have not realized that this is a personal vendetta that Red Hood is putting out there, and he wants them to suffer.
Yeah, I mean it's a different take on Red Hood, definitely in the comics. I know because I know in the comics he came back as Red Hood to kind of seek vengeance against Batman because he's like, you left me for dead, like the Joker tortured me and you weren't there to help me, so fuck you, I'm gonna kill you.
Yeah,
and that's how it was. But then now it's like the same thing but different. It's Batman isn't really part of that, and maybe he was and he felt guilty, so that's why he kills Joker. But I love it. Like, I love the character. It's a little weird. It almost has that vibe of Topher Grace's Venom to me.
right.
Like, you see Red Hood and he looks cool and badass, but then when they break his mask and a piece of it falls off, and he's like, "Oh, hey, it's me, Jason Todd. It's me, Jason Todd." He's like, this like childlike voice, and when he has the mask off, making demands and everything, he's just like, "Hey, will you bring me a beach ball and a juice box?" And I will, and it just has that little bit of vibe to it, but he does the role. He's pretty good at it. It's the age. He seems so young to be Red Hood, but I mean, he does a good job.
Right. And I think that's been some of the, I think, valid criticism of the character is he is young. He's lacking in a lot of the experience that Red Hood should have at this point. And so that's been part of it. I think the other has been the amount of time in between when he dies, when he's killed by Joker, and when he becomes Red Hood. I mean, it almost seems like overnight he becomes this character.
Now, I know they had a time jump between season 2 and season 3, but I kind of thought at first that him, that night Joker kills him and all that, I thought maybe that was kind of, even though that was on this season, it was tied in more to the timeline of season 2. And then there was that 4-month jump into where we're at now as him being Red Hood.
I think it would make sense, and that's possibly it. There had to be a reason for Dick to come back to the mansion, and it would kind of explain why it was so empty.
Yeah, I mean, because where's Bruce now? And when he ran away after killing Joker, I was like, oh, this is why he left Batwoman, because he killed the Joker. Maybe that's the same reason he escaped. Right. I almost expected to see Kate Kane go, "Where's Bruce?"
Right. I'm trying to find him.
That would be really cool, though, if Kate Kane, of course, the new Kate Kane, who came back only to leave, maybe pops up in Titans by accident, like, where am I? Have you seen Bruce? He killed the Joker. Oh, no. Or like, what? I don't know.
That would certainly be interesting. Let's talk about some other things in regards to Titans, because I feel like there's a lot of neat things. We saw Beast Boy watching pictures of other animals.
Yeah.
Even having conversations with himself about remembering that he had at one point turned himself into that boa constrictor. I feel like we are so damn close to him finally becoming something other than, Tony the Tiger.
He's going to be a bird this season because, like, I feel like that was foreshadowing for sure. He's like, you can do more than one thing. You could be – I know tigers are great, but you can be other things.
Right. I think I'm really sure that's going to happen. And I think that's something that his character really, really needs. What else? They introduced Barbara Gordon.
Yeah, and I think she's great. She's already – and this is post Batgirl.
Right.
Because she's in the wheelchair, Joker has already like crippled her and all that. But I don't know if she's been Oracle yet. I think this is pre-Oracle, but in between.
I think she is very, very formidable. Sometimes you look at somebody who's in a wheelchair, and your first thought is sympathy, right? Yeah. Oh, how sad it is to see that girl missing a leg in a wheelchair. But she's the freaking commissioner.
Yeah, right? She's Commissioner Gordon.
She is, just like her father. She's followed in his footsteps, and I think that's really awesome. And we've definitely seen how she is a force in her own right. Definitely not a pushover. much like her father, she also kind of walks that line in that gray area where she knows about vigilantism. There seems to be a little bit of a chip on her shoulder, though. Did you kind of pick up on that? A little bit of a bitterness. You know, she walked away from. Well, I say walk away. Wheeled away from the life.
Yeah, she had to roll on.
Yeah. But I think that perhaps that some things are hard to get away from, right?
Yeah.
I think
she's also lying to her father about being in Gotham.
Yeah.
Which is like, why? Why are you lying to your father about being in town? Because I think that's like the beginnings of like the Oracle thing where she's like in the tower, like all secluded and like working on the computer to help them. And I think that's where that starts. But there's got to be something else there. You know, something that we haven't seen yet or heard about yet. Well, other than her getting shot by the Joker and it's like too dangerous and she's too scared. Like, well, there's all that, but there's something, like you said, she has a chip on her shoulder for sure.
Right. Let's see. What else? Anything else you can think of about Titans?
No, I know Raven is not there yet, but we know that she's off trying to resurrect. Oh my gosh.
Wonder Girl.
Yeah.
Yes, they had gone off to Themyscira.
Mm-hmm.
So
I know she's going to be back at some point.
Yeah, definitely they're coming back, and I think part of not only was she going there to help potentially resurrect Wonder Girl, but there was a lot of, I think, maturing that she needed to go through, developing her powers, mastering herself and her abilities. I think that the Raven that will come back. Oh, Harv, I didn't mean to spoil that for you. They killed off Donna in, was it the last episode of season 2?
I think it was season 2 because she steps in to like save someone and she gets hit by accident. But I don't think she's gone. I don't think she is, because they wouldn't have the whole storyline for her to come back if she was dead permanently.
Yeah.
And you never really stay dead in these shows. Unless
you're Hank.
Yeah, because Hank, we haven't talked about that specifically yet. But it almost got to me. It was almost emotional because it was like the way they did it. I knew he was going to die. Spoilers to, if anybody hasn't, I already told you. It's like saying spoilers after the spoiler. Like,
right.
You already know. You know, it's like falling down, then putting a what for sign up over top of you.
Right.
But yeah, he blows up. And it's kind of crazy because I knew it was going to happen, but I was like, they made it so important. They made it so like you're seeing the clock tick literally in every heartbeat. I'm wondering why he had so many heartbeats left. Was he going to die? Was his heart going to stop at that point anyway? Or did they like rig it to like count down? I don't know. That part was a little confusing. I got it, but like I thought like the 20,000 or whatever is how many heartbeats he had left. I'm like, had left. How do you know that's how many beats his heart has left? Unless you programmed it to tick down that many numbers, which is likely what happened. But it was crazy the way it all played out.
And it was really jacked up that there is Connor, Superboy, who he's just racing to try to find a way to turn this thing off. And I think that he was literally seconds from being able to save Hank, and instead he's engulfed by the Inferno, and he sees Hank just totally blow up right in front of him.
Yeah. It was insane. And then you see Crypto come out all like with like the ash and stuff all over him. And I'm just like, oh my gosh. Like when they sent the dog out of the room, that's when I was like, oh man, wow. Yeah. Because I really thought Connor was going to get there in time. And like the bomb would have been disabled only to like have Red Hood shoot him in the head or something through the window. I knew he was going to die, but like I thought he was going to save him. And now he's going to be like, I wasn't super enough, which will play off of the earlier part in the show where was it the firefighter or whatever was it? Can I get your autograph? And then Beast Boy's like, you want mine? And he's like, no, supers are good enough or whatever. And then at the now in the episode, he's going to be like, well, I wasn't good enough. I didn't help him. I killed him. It was my fault. And so I loved how they played that out.
I really liked this. I really enjoyed seeing the development in Connor's character. During the first season 2, when he's introduced, he was very well. I mean, he was like he was a newborn, right?
Yeah.
You had these little flashes of brilliance and of naivety, but here in season 3, it's like he's really matured,
Yeah.
or at least he's learned how his abilities work. He's able to tap into the brilliance and intellect of Lex Luthor, and he seems to have a lot more of his own personality really come through. I'm really enjoying that.
I can't wait to see if they ever show his origins. I mean, we know his origins. He was created in the lab, and all that stuff. But I kind of want to see the Titans universe and see who their Lex is, who their Clark is, if they ever do that. It would just be interesting. Yeah. Would it be doppelgangers of say, our or Earth Prime Superman and Lex, or would it be like a Michael Rosenbaum Lex? You know what I mean? Like, I'm curious. I don't know. But yeah, I'm excited to see where it goes. I'm kind of disappointed that they're doing an episode at a time, because I'm like, I was so ready to watch episode 4.
Right.
I was like, oh no. And they're right. And that ending, and then Dawn just like falls into Dick's arms, like, I killed him. Oh my God. And that was crazy.
Well, and hadn't they essentially walked away? Like they were in DC, and he was like a bike cop.
Yeah.
Right. He had essentially, gone legit and walked away from the vigilante thing. And you kind of get the feeling like Dawn had sort of coerced him to come back.
Sort of.
That's how it seemed. So, yeah, I thought that was if we were looking for something to whet our appetite for the new season of Titans, that absolutely did it.
I think it's a strong season. I mean, aside from Jason Todd wanting like lollipops and juice boxes, and they also, if you noticed in the first episode, I believe it was, we see for our first glimpse of Tim Drake, which we don't know who he is yet, but like we as people know that he's Tim Drake and who he's going to become.
Yeah.
But in terms of the story, we don't really know who he is yet, because we find out Batman is looking for a new Robin even after Jason supposedly dies.
So I guess the question comes up: do you think that Dick's attack on Bruce Wayne for constantly taking messed up, broken teenagers and weaponizing their grief, was he right?
I think so, a little bit, because that's kind of what he just did, But then again, I heard it. Who said it? Somebody said something about, man, maybe Batman. Not in the show, but I read a comment or something earlier that said Bruce in the show is so much in denial about like how he feels, and he wants to hide his emotions behind being Batman and all this and that maybe he doesn't want to go off the rails and go Joker crazy, and that's why he needs a Robin to like keep him in check.
Sort of like his moral compass,
yeah.
like his Samwise Gamgee.
Yeah, I mean that's a good way to look at it, I think, because he probably doesn't even realize it himself, like that he needs that moral compass.
It's just like it's just like how Chris Kirkpatrick needs Stephen Colton.
Yeah, and yeah, because
as corny as that is, but
CW heroes could appear on the HBO shows. I mean, that would be really cool if they would let them do that.
I would do like literal backflips. You guys could charge admission.
Yeah.
See me do that. I would really love it. I feel like it's the same hassle that we've seen in regards to, we love Grant Gustin's portrayal of the Flash. If Ezra Miller were to just kind of fall over dead, and if he could step in and take on that part in the movies, we'd be very happy. But for whatever reason, they like keeping those two universes completely separate.
Yeah.
So, all right, I think we've done a pretty awesome job talking about Titans season 3.
Yeah,
I am so glad that you watched it. I was a little bit bummed going into this conversation tonight. I'm like, I'm going to talk about Titans, and he won't know what I'm talking about. So I'm glad that you're caught up. I think the only other thing that we need to talk about is What If.
Yeah, What If? I mean, I know there's only one episode. And I love how it felt like an actual cartoon series.
It really did. So,
The pace of that show,
right?
It was quick. It was to the point. They didn't waste a lot of time with filler content that you don't need.
I really loved it. So, quick question for you: did you ever read the What If comics?
I read some, not that many, but I do remember them.
So I really enjoyed the What If comics. I felt like What If comics was a comic book series that was made for the comic book enjoyer. You know, how often when you were young, you might daydream about what might happen, right? And I remember that very vividly growing up, that I'd read the stories and I'd fall in love with the characters and I go, what if this would happen? Right? And as corny as that is, I feel like What If sort of scratched that itch a little bit of playing around with what was possible in the lives of these characters.
It's like, what if Grant Gustin walked in? Come here, Grant. Yeah, right. And he's like, right. Hey guys, how are you?
Yeah.
But yeah, like I love that idea. Yeah. Oh, where's Iris? We can't talk about our problems. You're not the Flash. You both are, and without her, you're nothing.
You're my lightning rod.
Yeah, and then he gets struck by lightning for real.
We are Team Flash. Yes, absolutely. So I already have this nostalgic connection with What If, and I like what they do. I think that this whole introduction to the multiverse, kind of this methodical pace to it. You know, we've already been introduced to it in through Loki, and so we understand that one choice can cause a branch in the timeline. In this case, for What If, that branch is the choice of Agent Peggy Carter to not leave the room during the experiment.
She's like, no, I'll stay, and I just stay here. And then they're like, oh, okay. And then like everything changes like immediately, and I love how quick it happens.
Yeah, it was really fast. I think that what happens, in my opinion, Peggy Carter has always been a superhero, right?
Yeah.
She's always been heroic, even without powers. Being a woman in the 1940s in the military and still commanding respect, and then being a founding member of S.H.I.E.L.D. And I feel like, you know, she had been a hero without any abilities. The fact that that Steve and her, their positions flip, and now she is, you know, Captain Carter.
Yeah.
Well, I part of me wanted to call her like Captain Britain or something like that.
Yeah, Captain UK or Captain Brit, or I don't know.
Brit Girl. That would have. I am Brit Girl.
Yeah, that would be great.
I think we need to recommend some potential names for her, or I don't know.
Honestly,
I'll have to think about it.
I'd forgotten she was British, so whenever she had the shield and it had like the
Union Jack.
Yeah, the Union Jack. That's what I was thinking. I was like, what? Why? But I realized, oh, duh. It made sense.
Right. Well, and part of me, at first I wanted to call her Captain America.
Yeah.
Like, no, that doesn't work. You can't call her Captain America. But I really loved it. I mean, and I think they really did a great job of flipping the story that we were all familiar with that very first Captain America, the first Avenger.
Yeah. And I love how it ended with her like meeting Nick Fury and all that stuff. And I'm just like, ooh, and it's all their voices, or at least
it is.
And it's like, wow. And then, but animated skinny Steve Rogers is so weird to watch because he's like, oh, look at me, I'm little Steve Rogers. Help. And then he gets in the big suit and everything and like all that. It was really cool though. And now, from what I understand of the show, it's like each episode is going to be a different what if.
It is
story. But what I see happening is, depending on the reaction from people like us talking about it all over the world, these shows could very well branch off into spinoffs or entire feature animated films.
Well, I mean, I think that the point is that there is an unlimited supply of possibilities of what ifs. I mean, every character could have their own what if.
Yeah.
Like, you think about what would have happened to Hawkeye if his family had never returned.
Will he not be there? Because that'd be great.
Yeah, right.
No, I no hate for him. He's my least favorite character.
Right.
Of all the Avengers.
Yeah, he's got a bow and arrow. I totally get it. But I do feel like the potential is there.
Yeah.
That literally any topic, they could take anything and give it a twist that nobody saw coming.
Right. But part of me thinks like, with this first episode, it's like I kind of want to see where it goes.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like it's like I get the premise of it. It's like, oh, you do this one-off thing. Like, what if this happened? This is what would happen. The end. But it's like, well, what is does she date Nick Fury? Maybe like what? Like you kind of want to see what happens in a way to those characters. And like Steve Rogers is dead because he's like a skinny old kid in the 40s, and now he's like blown up and dead or something.
I like the idea that after Endgame, that Agent Carter or Captain Carter goes back in time and finds Steve, and they have a long, happy relationship.
And then I think of old man Steve Rogers on the bench, and I get confused, and it's like Savitar, and I don't know, but
we're not even going to jump into time travel. What I will tell you though is the next What If that's coming up is focused on Iron Man.
Okay, well that'd be cool. Like, what if Iron Man? What would be the what if part? I didn't see a promo or anything about it, so I don't know.
Well, consider this: the Iron Man's weaponry and everything else has been essentially used for good. But what if he made one bad decision to use it for evil?
That's a good way to look at it.
So that's at least the little tidbit that I saw. I'm still not sure exactly where it's going.
I've heard different things about the series going forward. Like there was a Spider-Man episode or something, or what, and all these other episodes. It would be really cool since it is animated if they did a what if of like, what if the X-Men were in Endgame or something, and how cool would it be to see an animated X-Men?
One of the episodes of What If that I fondly remember as a kid was What If Hulk fought Wolverine.
Oh yeah.
And I'm like, I would pay, folding cash money to be able to, watch that episode.
Even if it was just animated, like it'd be so cool in live action, but it would be even better.
I'll take that one any way I can get it.
Or what if Eddie Brock became Spider-Man instead of? Or what if they could get ridiculous with it? Like, what if Topher Grace wasn't Venom?
Right. Yay!
And they'd be animated. That would be so
they're
cool.
Partying in the streets.
Oh my gosh!
I know. So I feel like we've run the gamut as far as all of our shows.
Yeah, and there were some good shows. Like
they really were.
I mean, and then oh wait, never mind. The Flash is over. Also, we didn't talk about Flash, but like it's over. And there's not much to talk about there anyway. I forgot how it ended.
Badly.
I mean, hopefully 8's better.
Yeah. I'll cross my fingers, but I won't hold my breath.
I'm not gonna hold my breath either.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm gonna die probably.
All right. Let's remind, because we've got a lot of new people on our Facebook page. Just kind of remind people about our Twitter information. Remind people to go and subscribe. We've had a number of new subscribers on our YouTube, so I think that's great. So if you like the podcast, go and subscribe to Between a Pod and a Hard Place on YouTube. Yes, and this episode I will try to have on by tomorrow. Okay, sweet. I try to have it on the next day at least. I may get bored later and try to upload it tonight. It takes a little bit to download and then re-upload. But all of our information here, we're gonna throw it out at the top. We're gonna do it as Joker. Like I'm gonna let's see here. You can't. I'm not even gonna do that. I can't. I'm like trying to hold it. It would be funny though. Like, what if Joker was the host? Right. Follow Mark Guggenheim. Guggenheim. Oh gosh. He's probably gonna be like, dude, I'll never talk about your podcast again. Yeah. But yeah, follow Mark Guggenheim. Well, it'd be better if I did that than if I did my super like, hey everybody,
You can follow Mark Guggenheim.
That is a terrible Melissa Benoist
I know
impression.
I was like more like a Michael Jackson impersonation.
Right.
But I mean, yeah, Mark Guggenheim. I'm gonna stop while I'm not ahead on that. And you can follow us at Pod and Hard Place, or follow us individually at CJ_Kirk1979 and at Steven_Colton. I have like 12 followers or something. No, I have more than that, but not that many. I think the podcast and you both each separately have more than I do, which I don't know. I don't really engage in new people on my personal Twitter. I get caught up in the podcast Twitter a lot. And then on my personal Twitter, I've just been focusing on like Clerks 3 updates. I'm like, ooh.
Right.
You know, and all that kind of stuff. So I don't really
I think I'm really, really close to about 1,500 followers.
Wow.
On my personal one. Our podcast Twitter just broke 600.
Yeah. And we had over 100 new followers in the last, how long has it been since we broke 500? Like 2 weeks, maybe 3 weeks. Yeah. It's growing faster now. And then the YouTube is jumping a little bit slower, but it's still going. Our view counts are going up and up, you know, way more than they were originally when I tried to upload a few.
Yeah.
They would kind of like slowly over time. You know, it would take us like a week or two to get the views on those videos back then that it does to get like, you know, some episodes will stop and there'll be like a ton on there. I'm like, awesome. So I'm happy with that. It's going to be a slow process still, but I mean, everything starts off slow. We're not going to. But
we are growing, and I think that's the greatest part for me.
Definitely
in all of this. You know, all the time we put into this, and things are heading in the right direction. I'm excited. Are you excited?
I am excited. I mean, I'm excited. I'm a little bummed we haven't heard back more from the WB PR teams about, you know, and they're very, very busy. Some of the shows are in production right now. Some of them just left production. So they're busy. And I'm not going to be like, hey, you better reply to me, you know, and like get all like, you know, I'm not going to plot like the Joker or something like that. I will kill you if you do not get me. That was more Yoda. If you do not, do or do not, there is no track. Why am I holding him up? Like that's.
I don't know.
But yeah, I haven't heard much about that, but we directly through Jordan Elsas, we have scheduled him for August 29th, which is, it seems like that's going to happen before anybody else. But
next week, though, we do have the Great Geek Debates. We were on their show a couple weeks back and had a blast with them. And so they're going to be joining us live next Sunday.
Yep. And we're going to be talking about I think we're probably going to focus the entire show about, well, we might trail off here and there with little things, but like the main focus of that episode is going to be on the season finale of Superman and Lois.
Exactly.
And we're going to talk about how Clark dies. What if? You know?
What if? Yeah.
But I mean, I wouldn't miss him too much. No, I would. But yeah, I definitely have grown to love that character more now than I did when it first started. When he first popped up in Supergirl.
I agree, and I feel like they had sort of nerfed him a little bit when on Supergirl. They were trying to make sure that he didn't eclipse Supergirl, and so they kept them really distant. I mean, they were having these conversations via text message, which I thought was hilarious.
They were doing podcasts with each other like this,
right?
And like, well, on today's episode, we talk about how to stop Lex Luthor, you know. But, I mean, honestly, when I first saw him on Supergirl, I'm like, that skinny guy? Because then you see him next to Tom Welling and next to Brandon Routh. And then that one picture, like a set photo from Crisis. And I'm just like, he looked like me in between, like, Andre the Giant and Andre the Giant's brother or something. I don't know. You know, these humongous human beings. And, like, there's this little bitty guy.
But I will say that in hindsight, he's really stepped it up.
Exactly.
And part of it is the writing. They've written him so well, and I think that's the biggest thing for me. Is I've been really impressed with what they've done for him on Superman and Lois. They've made him, I think, legitimate.
Right, and when Superman and Lois first started, I was like, "Where's there no Tom Welling?" But now I'm like, "Who?
Who? Yes.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, I think that it definitely. I've always had a very high bar for Superman,
right?
And Tyler absolutely, clears it. So
Well, this has been fun.
it's been great. Yeah.
I can't wait to talk to you next week and to talk to the ladies over at Great Geeks Debate. And that's going to be great. I'm excited for both of those. And I'm excited to see the next What Ifs and the next Titans.
Yes, and Supergirl and Superman and Lois.
Which is all this week, I think.
I'm gonna be struggling to keep up.
Yeah.
But I'll do my darndest. So
all right. Well,
all right. Well,
yeah.
Yeah. Well, have a good night.
You too. And
is Hal still watching?
Is what?
Is Hal still watching? Or Harv? I'm sorry.
Oh, Harv. I was like, who?
Yeah.
At first, I think Harv is still here.
Okay.
Maybe. If not, thanks for watching, Harv.
Yeah.
Thanks for joining us and commenting. We love the interaction with people. We love when people talk. Yeah. We're kind of missing Corey tonight because he's going to be watching it later on YouTube, as he said earlier. But I always love watching his comments pop up.
Yeah. I think it's one of the things that we enjoy about doing the show live is that kind of interaction.
Yeah. Exactly.
All right. Well, I will see you. I'll see you next week.
Next week, right here on Between a Pot and a Hard Place at 8:30 p.m. Eastern and then 5:30 Pacific. We should have like a little clock up on our screens, like 8:30, 5:30. I don't know.
So one last little side note.
Yeah.
You know, on our sticker, Corey had pointed out that on our sticker, you got me in the Atlantic Ocean and you on the Pacific.
Yeah.
And it's really flip-flopped.
It is weird.
You know,
at first, I was like, that's kind of strange. But then I thought maybe I could lie and say, well, that was an artistic choice because it's symbolic that we're together all the time. Or I don't know. I mean, it sort of is. Like, you know, you're hearing me from the side.
Right.
I want to play around with that, though, and flip it and see what happens.
Yeah.
Or maybe just show Africa in the middle instead of North America.
That would be interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah. Find a continent that neither of us have a connection to.
Or have the Earth be blown up.
Right.
Like a ruined, kind of like a comet or like a burning asteroid or something. I don't know. Maybe put us on the moon. Who knows?
We could spitball it.
Yeah, but I definitely will play around with that because when he pointed it out, I couldn't unsee it. I was like, oh, man.
That said, I love it. I really think you did a great job with it. It's someone at work had remarked about it, and I have it right above my desk on my whiteboard at work. So
That's
awesome. I'm representing.
Yeah,
and they're
playing it really loud at work, like turning it on a computer, turning it up real loud, like everybody listen.
Right.
And like, I don't know.
Yeah.
Make everyone watch it for homework.
I'll make it a part of the curriculum.
Yeah, take a test on it. Like, in which episode of Between a Pot and a Hard Place?
This is totally off base here, but we actually offer a class where they talk about the elements of creating a podcast. So I've definitely considered walking in and talking with the kids about it.
Yeah, for sure. All right. Well, it's been fun, and then we had the little bonus right there at the end.
Yeah,
fun conversation. But definitely look forward to next week.
All right, sounds good. Well, have a good night.
You too. Take it easy.